and I'm starting the recording. And like I said at the full board meeting, just call me if you run into a problem. I made you all co-hosts, so you should be able to lock the meeting and boot people if we get bombed or anything like that.
I
All
don't
right?
think we'll have a problem
Is it
tonight,
set up
right,
to
Roger?
automatically let people in?
What's that?
Is it set up to automatically let people in?
Yeah, people automatically come in, but if you
Okay.
have a problem, as Community Board 7 did, lock the meeting. You should have that ability at the very top.
Oh, I
think
see
it's
it now.
Control R. I don't know if you want to test that Control R. I'm going to test it myself. Yeah, meeting's locked, and then it's not locked. Does that work for you, Control R? There's only one host account. I can make you the host too. It's up to you.
Your lock meeting is locked. That's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to stay open until you have a problem. All right?
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go, so just let me know if you need anything.
All right, thank you so much. Roger, did you call a meeting?
No, I hadn't. I was just
Oh,
talking
okay.
with.
Okay, because I see everything open up already.
Okay.
All right, I'll let you lead tonight because I did text you my situation. So I'll let you go ahead.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Today is May 2nd, the 7 p.m. meeting. It's now 7:03 for a Sanitation Environmental Protection Committee meeting. We do have a quorum, so we can get started. Start with introductions. Roger McCrossan. I am the co-chair. Do you chair people that are on? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Avril Francis, Chair.
Sorry, Sanchiola.
Thank you. And then I think first with the gallery session, Diana, you had sent your concerns about the flooding issue. Do you want to start with that and any other issues you may have?
Sure. Hi, everybody. So we have a very bad longstanding ponding issue on Mace between Barker and Olinville, but closer to Barker. And the addresses are 656, 658, and 660 Mace. And it appears that the problem is a multi-agency problem because the curb has worn down so that it's level with the street and the sidewalk. So there's really no curb, and curbs are DOT. But then the road has also, it's domed and goes lower on one side than the other. So the water all runs off to one side, and there's no catch basin on the side that the water runs off on. So it feels like the agency, I mean, we've been reaching out to DOT for years, and they've never gotten around to doing anything. And they always say, well, it's also the sidewalk and that's the homeowner's responsibility, or it's also DEP and there's no catch basin.
Diana, not to stop you. Your concern is that you have no way for the water to run, so it forms
Right.
like, okay.
And it all the water on the road runs off to that one side. And it covers the whole sidewalk. It makes a puddle that's longer than the length of 2 cars. It's completely under the cars, so you're getting out of the car on either side into the water. It's really bad. So I don't know. We just need help. Somebody's got it. They can't all just keep saying it's the other agency's problem. And it's sort of, they make it into a sort of chicken and egg problem. We can't do anything until DEP does. Well, DEP can't do anything until DOT does. And it just never gets fixed.
It was the same location that you talked about in transportation last night?
Yes.
And you said one of the
Yes.
houses had some sewer work done, or was it Maine?
Yes, and while they were having the sewer work done, the Verizon guy came along to mark the parts in the street where there was Verizon equipment so that the sewer guys would know not to dig there. And he was the one who really explained how he thought that it was DEP now that was really the primary agency involved because of the lack of a catch basin.
Okay.
And I can see how maybe they had a little difficulty figuring out where a catch basin should go because there's a lot of private homes and driveways, so you can't put the catch basin right in front of the driveway, of course. But the sewer repair guys fixed it so that they raised the level of the sidewalk and the road there a little bit. So now it doesn't go right in, the puddle doesn't go right down the driveway of that one residence. It has moved a little further along the street.
It was the same one where when we had DEP on, they were talking about the distance from the corner to a catch basin. Was that the same?
It might have
It was the
been,
same property. Okay.
yeah.
And then,
But I mean, my view is that it's a problem they have to fix.
right.
And
Okay,
if there's
so
a problem
can I
with
ask
the
you a
distance
question?
from the corner, they have to figure out how to fix it. Because we
Okay,
can't go
Diana,
on
can I ask
forever
you a
with,
question, Diana?
yes.
You had this complaint addressed on the last meeting. Who did you speak to? Because now we're having the same
We are having the same conversation
yes.
because nobody is clear yet on who to approach and who's going to approach the right person to get it fixed.
Okay,
And
well,
it's
since you
also
had
evolved
the
a little
last
bit.
meeting, did you speak to Jeremy to see who is the right
I did not speak to
agency?
Jeremy.
You do not speak to Jeremy?
I said I did not speak to Jeremy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm a little overwhelmed with having all the problems of the community put on me
Why
and the onus being on
why all the
me.
problems are put on you?
Well,
Are you
like
taking
you're
on the
saying,
problem? Which one? Because you
you've
haven't
spoken
spoken
about
to
this before,
Jeremy.
and how come you didn't speak to Jeremy about it?
Yeah, because I figure if
Because I
Jeremy
didn't have
can,
time. Why doesn't the chair of the committee, like the chair of the transportation committee last night, took down the specific addresses from me and is going to advance it to the board and the board staff?
but what
That's
I'm
my
saying,
request on
Diana,
behalf
did
of
you
the
give
of
them,
BPECA.
did you speak to them to see how you guys can come together and speak to
I have
the
not spoken with Jeremy about it yet.
Okay, all right.
To be all fair, somebody did take notes last night about the issue that she had. I don't know who it was, but
Yes, and
somebody took notes.
Deb Kowalnik, she followed up with me afterwards as well and got specific addresses. But
do you know if anybody
the more
has?
they hear about it from the more committees and the more people, the more likely we'll get some action. Because this has been going on for years. And literally years. And BPECA has been in touch with DOT years ago, before I was even involved on the board of BPECA. And DOT can keep on putting it off because we're not the community board. We are just a little neighborhood association whose personnel changes over time. So we are requesting help from the community board to help finally bring a resolution to this problem. And the Verizon guy was very helpful, actually, because he said that there are problems like this all over the city now, and that ever since Hurricane Ida, the top planning levels, people have been taking them much more seriously, and water problems, flooding, ponding, water in places it shouldn't be, people are taking it much more seriously now.
And do you know if anyone took pictures over the weekend? Because we did get inundated with
Yeah,
a lot of rain.
I have pictures.
You do. Great.
From yesterday, yeah. And I sent them to,
Deborah?
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe you should send the pictures to Jeremy and Chris.
Yeah, I think we just have to, follow up as well.
Yeah.
And
Excuse me, Roger, I got a question
And I
for you.
think if DEP, my request also is that if DEP gives some little answer, like when you speak to them, like, oh, it's not the right distance from the curb, or there's not from the intersection, we have to respectfully ask DEP to come and look at the
Mhm.
site.
Malcolm
To
Gray have
just
his
come up
hands
with
up.
a, blanket answer according to their regulations. They have to come and look at the problem.
Right. Okay.
And
Is
the other thing to report on it, which I didn't talk about last night because it's not so much transportation, there were other things to talk about. There was a private company that has approached me because they have AI listening to community board meetings and picking up keywords, and they heard ponding, and they say that they have a technique that's much cheaper and faster than existing techniques. They're a pre-approved vendor with New York City, and they would like to come and see if they can fix this problem. They might even do it for free as a way of letting DOT test their new functionality. But I'm kind of at a loss as to like who I speak to about this. But anyway, there's this offer out there from a private company who thinks they have a good ponding correction solution.
And I
okay.
think there were other options besides just the catch basin, like the bioswale, and there has been other things that I've
Yeah.
seen that have the labels on it that it's
Right. In this area, there isn't a place for bioswale.
because of the locations of the driveways are too close to each other.
Right. And
Yeah.
the people don't really have yards, and the houses are quite small. There isn't a big stretch of,
Well, they come in different shapes and sizes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there, and the sidewalk itself isn't that wide there either.
Okay.
I don't think there's a place for a bioswale.
And there has been other things that I saw that were mid-block, and they almost look like a mix between a sidewalk vault, but they
Right,
and a bioswale. They
right,
didn't have actually anything growing in it, but there was something that looked like a catch basin. So
right.
we'll reach out to
Actually,
DAT.
whichever entity it is that creates those, they did do our whole neighborhood a few years ago before the pandemic. They went around and they surveyed the whole area and marked off sections where they thought it would be good spots for bioswale, those little
Right.
mini bioswales. And then they went and tested the soil. And then when they finalized their choices of locations, they put them in, and now they're throughout the area.
hmm
So I think they've already, that solution would have been implemented if that had been a good location for that.
Yeah.
Okay, Roger, we have Malcolm whose hand is up, and we have also Miguel Dyer whose hand is up. So,
Okay.
I'm sorry. One thing. Am I the only one that's looking at a code of conduct page? Because I don't see anybody.
Oh, I was just sharing that one.
How do I take it off so I can see who's here?
Here, I'll just stop sharing it and then
I can see
the
who's
Thank
here.
screens pop
Maybe
back
it's
up.
how you have
Thank you,
your setting.
thank you.
Okay, so we have Malcolm. Go ahead, Malcolm.
Hey guys, how you guys doing? Um,
Good.
would it be beneficial to reach out to both? Is it DOT and DEP,
Yeah,
Diana?
I think both of them are involved.
To do a combined walkthrough in the area, because I mean I feel like they're just gonna ping pong back and forth over
Right.
whose idea it is. But if we could
Yeah.
get them both on the field at the same time to look at
That
the
would be
issue
really good.
and then discuss with us after, like, what is the proper steps to take. I think
Right.
that might be efficient.
And
Yeah.
the Verizon guy even said that DDC would be involved as well, but I think they are larger scale projects. But I know that when they were working on the Pelham Parkway reconstruction and they had a bioswale issue along Pelham Parkway North, that's exactly what they did. They were able to bring together Parks Department, DEP, DOT, and they all physically came and looked at the site and discussed what to do right there on the spot.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea to because they're just gonna play ping pong with you if you don't force them to come in person.
Mhm.
And Diana, is it your house? Is it just, I know you
No,
said two addresses, so are they like houses next to each other?
yeah, there are
Because
houses
I know
next to
you
each other.
Three
you said
houses in a row, right?
650.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
3 houses and then a slightly larger, small apartment building are affected.
So maybe the people in the community who are affected, can they write a letter and support you in what you're trying to do?
Mm, they could, but at this point, that just feels like another delay because it's been going on for years. And
The community board can send a letter. You guys can send a letter to the both the agencies to try to expedite it or put a little bit of pressure on it. So
Malcolm, what about the elected officials in your community?
I mean, yeah, you can always do that, but if we're part of that's that governance system also. You know what I mean? So it won't be a bad idea to also lend our support to get it done.
I also think the street is right on the border. It's one of those border streets where one side is one official and the other side's the other official. So that makes it a little difficult.
Seems like that's happening all over.
Yeah.
And Miguel, you had
Go
your
right
hand
ahead,
raised.
Miguel.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, first of all, Malcolm, I think that's a great idea to get both of them there because then they can't say, well, it's them and it's them, they're both right there. Secondly, to Diana's point, I mean, I know that you were probably inundated. Even the office flooded
Oh,
yesterday. Yeah. And we had our meeting for Van Ness Neighborhood Alliance last night, and the community room had flooded.
wow.
So it's everywhere. It's really just everywhere. But my block in particular, Birchall Avenue, from where the Parks Department is up to Sagamore Street, every single time it rains, the entire street turns into a river. Every time. And I had done so many 311s about it that I just stopped because nothing ever happened. So I mean, it's all over the place. So I definitely, hear you on that. And we need to get these, DEP and DOT in the same place at the same time at all of these places because it's you're right, after Hurricane Ida, it's they're taking this quite a bit more seriously.
Okay, and we have Cynthia Rodriguez. Oh, her hands are. Cynthia, did you raise your hand by any chance?
I did for like a nanosecond, but just a quick suggestion to Diana, which I'm sure you already know, but if you can dig up those old emails or complaints or whatever with regards to the issue, at least kind of, accumulate it, and then if the board decides, to put something together, adding that as documentation of
Yeah.
an ongoing issue.
I did actually look for them a while back because I have seen them in the past, but they're pre-pandemic, like 2018, 2017. And this time I could not find them. So there weren't emails that I had sent
Mm,
or so,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to talk about was it's kind of more old business. The last meeting where we had the alternate side of street parking, and there's a lot of different issues. And then I reached out to Jeremy that we have to make a motion to have a public hearing. Do you guys want to do the public hearing for the June meeting? And it's alternate side of street parking, whether it's request to increase the alternate side of street parking or request to reduce the alternate side of street parking. Both of them need to have a public hearing. So do you guys want to do that for the June meeting? Just alternate side of street parking as on the agenda? And then we can make the announcement at the next general board meeting as well, so the
So
public.
you're asking that, Roger, on behalf of this sanitation meeting?
Yeah,
Okay, because I know we had that, but since we had that meeting, did we follow up? Did we get any feedback
well,
from
the
the guests that we had?
DOT had a change of staff, and the process they talked about on the meeting wasn't exactly what the new DOT administration that came in said it was. But basically they said you have to have a public hearing. So I'm assuming that we have to give proper notice. So at the May general board meeting, we could give notice that the public hearing is going to be the next sanitation environmental meeting, and just have that as the public hearing for any alternate side of the street issues. And that will satisfy the DOT's part of it.
Wow, okay. Seems like we have to go through all this to get something done.
Mm-hmm.
Roger, I got the understanding that the last guy that was at the meeting for the alternate side from sanitation, he's not there anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy that was on that WebEx with us, he's not there anymore.
So let me ask Roger, do you think if we announce that we're having this guest on and have a full meeting like this for our next meeting and have the new people come on and hear their difference? What do you think?
Yeah.
Because if they're new, we should invite them back
Mhm.
to our next meeting
Yeah,
and then hear what they have to say. They might come with a different take on things, and we get more people to come on and join the meeting.
yeah, but I think in order to satisfy the DOT requirements for a public hearing, there has to be like proper notice. So if we did it
Yes.
during the general meeting, that would satisfy their requirement. And then it's almost like having a quorum at a meeting. There has to be a quorum in order for it to be an official meeting. We have to give proper notice, and then it can be a public hearing so that they can actually move towards the next step. I don't think they're going to move towards the next step unless you go by what guidelines they've laid out.
Okay. Anyone else have anything to say? Diana Finch has raised her hand.
Yes, so two things. One on behalf of members who asked me to bring this up tonight. But for a resolution for the ponding situation, may we request that you make a motion to invite DOT and DEP to do a joint walkthrough? And if they want to include another area, like maybe the Birchall Sagamore area, that's fine with us. It doesn't have to be just for that one location on Mace.
I think for the walkthroughs, it doesn't have to be. They don't require as much of the notification parts of it. But yeah, we could work with transportation and get areas that need to have the walkthroughs.
Okay, thanks. And then another problem that we're having both north of Pelham Parkway and south of Pelham Parkway are private lots that are getting overrun by trash. And we don't really know exactly how to take care of this or who has jurisdiction, because it's not the sanitation department. You know, they can clean the street around the outside of the lots. They're parking lots, like both formal and informal parking lots where fees are charged to park cars, but they're private property.
The
So,
private lots are where the trash is building up,
yes,
not a residence. It's a
no,
okay.
they abut residences.
Mm-hmm.
but they're not residences. So I don't know if it's maybe the Department of Public Health that you have to ask.
I'm not sure. I'd have to send it on to Jeremy and see what he says. Miguel, you had your hand raised?
Sure. I just wanted to say to Diana, I think that's a great idea. 2 birds with 1 stone. If we could, if we get them out, we may as well, show them where there are big, huge problems with that. And then secondly, I had a huge problem with the trash in the private lot just on White Plains in Sagamore. And it was the Department of Health that had to come out for that.
Was that the same thing? It was like a private empty lot, or was it?
It's actually an overgrown empty lot, and nobody can really figure out who owns it. And there's a dump truck inside it, and just that's been there for 5 years. That's just trash, and there's trash all over the place. The rats are obnoxious. It abuts the abutment for the train right there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought maybe I was like, is this an MTA issue? Like, whatever. And of course it's an LLC that's part of another LLC that's part of another LLC. They can't really tell, but I know that it was health that came out that I don't know how effective it was, but I know that they summoned them, whoever it was.
And how did you get the Department of Public Health involved?
311.
311. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That was and I'm sorry to say it, but that was one of the few times that 311 has actually worked.
Okay, Cynthia, you had something to say?
Sorry, trying to mute. No, I was just wondering, in terms of casting a wide net, if you can argue that it's a fire hazard, is that something that's reportable to FDNY? I'm just, throwing things out there to see what sticks.
Okay.
Mhm. So we have these agencies that make us feel like if you need us, just call or call 311, make it seem so easy. But when we have an issue, it seems like we have to go through too much to get solutions in our communities.
Is that all the issues that we know of? So we didn't have much on the agenda.
Right. Well, then an issue need to be fixed so we could see that we could come with more issues because they would be resolved.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll take this to Jeremy and see how we can get something done to get them out as Malcolm and Miguel agreed to, and everyone, seems to be on the same path. Get them to come out at the same time and be there. Then nobody can, say it's this one and that one because they're right there together.
And do you guys agree that we should, at the next sanitation meeting, we'll do the public hearing?
I don't know. I was saying have the next meeting, invite both of them on.
No, I'm saying that we would agree that the next sanitation environmental meeting would be a public hearing where we're on the agenda addressing any alternate side of the street parking issues, both additions and removals.
Well, we have to hear from the community. Everybody has to agree to this.
Yeah, but I think the subcommittee, that's what
Yeah.
the voting members, we vote on that and then
Mm-hmm.
we take the results to the general meeting.
Yes, let's hear what everybody have to say. I think Miguel raised his hand.
Miguel?
I would just like to give you guys a preview. I would like alternate set aside be taken off all of the streets around my neighborhood. Thank you.
I would like that too, and I would like my street to become a
Sure.
one-way on Kruger. I really and truly think Kruger Avenue needs to be a one-way street, so that's a big concern of mine.
I think one of them, they just did get changed.
Yeah, let's vote on that now.
They started the
Let's vote on that
process.
now.
Say again, Harry?
I said, let's vote on that, not get rid of alternate sign.
They may not clean the street when we do that.
Yeah, yeah.
But for the record, even with alternate
I
sign,
meant just
they
for
still
my
don't clean
car.
the street.
That's right. I argue that all the time. One of the suggestion I said to them, I said, why is it you see the truck come through? You have 3 and 4 cars that did not move. So that street didn't get clean, but you don't have a sanitation vehicle behind them to overlook these issues. So I don't know what's going on, but we need to put these things out here that if you're going to have street cleaning, sanitation need to be doing their work.
And has anyone had any issues with the change of the pickup times for sanitation? Any like summonses or anything?
I haven't, it's just annoying that I bring out my garbage at 8 PM and they don't pick it, like, I think, what day is today? Today's Tuesday? Yeah, so my garbage went out last night, 8 PM, because I don't put out bins, I put out bags.
Mhm.
And it didn't get picked up till 5:30 this morning when I got up for work.
Yeah, that's what I say. I don't understand what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have heard that some of the apartment buildings, now they have to pay their employees time and a half to come out later. So it's more of an expense for them because they're
Oh, that's
usually
right.
be gone at 5. Now they have to come back later to put out the garbage.
You're absolutely right. I have to pay overtime to have a guy come and throw the garbage out.
Yeah.
Because you cannot put it out until after a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You guys
Yeah, they're
should.
giving it.
Say again,
Sorry.
Malcolm?
Malcolm was saying something.
No, go ahead, Harry. No, Harry's on the committee, so he should talk first.
No. With all due respect, I don't
No, he
even know.
said
I don't know where this hand raising thing is. So I'm like thinking I'm jumping in. Where's this hand raising thing at? And I'm looking for it.
I
It's
think
on
we have to have
It's
how
next
we
to the
have
work.
to have sanitation to teach you how to do that.
I'm looking for the hand thing, the little yellow hand. I'm thinking, well, I hope they don't think that I'm rude, but I'm looking
It
for
might
the
be on
hand.
the emotion, the reactions. It might say reactions, or it might say hand rise. Are you doing it on a phone or a computer?
Phone.
Phone.
It's in the 3 dots at the bottom next to the red
It's
X.
a record. Mine is next to record.
Like that?
Mhm.
Hey, there you go.
We got a winner.
Yay!
Thanks.
Okay, Malcolm, go right ahead.
I was going to say maybe worthwhile reaching out to the economic committee to see if they've heard anything from some of the businesses, especially the small businesses, because I do know that a lot of businesses throughout the Bronx in general are having a hard time adjusting to the new time pickups. So it might be efficient to reach out to them to see, what they're experiencing. Not efficient, but effective. To figure out what they're experiencing also on their end.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And if I could just add on behalf of the BPECA supers, we actually did an informal survey of our supers, and they all said the same thing, that they're putting the trash out later, but then the sanitation is just taking their usual time to pick it up. And sometimes they don't even come till the next morning.
Yeah.
So
Has their normal pickup time changed, or that's always the time they would normally pick up?
well, the supers are supposed to put it out later, like I think after 6 or maybe after 8. And in turn, sanitation is supposed to pick it up, I think it's by like 2 or 4 a.m. It's not supposed to still be there the next morning.
Oh, okay.
'Cause they were supposed to shrink the window of opportunity for the rats to come break in and get the food.
Do they know what time the rats come out? Because
The
Rats are 24/7.
that's it.
the rat guy, the Department of Health rat inspector, chief rat inspector,
The
told
czar.
us
The czar.
the Bronx rat czar. He told us that rats can actually tell time.
Oh, very
They
good.
do it by light and dark, and they can measure days. And so if the pickup is, every 3rd day or
They
2
figure it
days
out.
and then 3 days, they know
So they just
when
changed their
the
alarm.
garbage is going to be out there.
Yeah, it's conditioning.
They put a reminder in their Apple Watch.
I love this meeting.
That would be hilarious. They gotta make a movie
Harry?
like that.
I,
Make
th-
a-
I
make
think I
a
think
Disney movie.
I think that rule is ridiculous.
It just
I
seems like an
must
extra
say,
tax.
I'm telling you, and Roger, I must commend Harry since he learned how to raise his hand. His hand never went down.
Yes, Harry.
No, I answered it. You never took the hand down.
Oh, okay. Oh, you could
Guilty
lower your
getting my
hand.
Now,
too.
vote.
now you took the hand down.
There you go. Well, I think
Oh,
that's all we
yes.
have
Oh,
to
may
think
I
about.
share one more
Yeah.
request from a community member?
Sure.
So Bronx Park East, the park side, it's not sanitation's territory, it's the Parks Department territory to pick up all the trash along the park side of the street. And there's one building in our area where it's like little townhouse apartments, distinct apartments. They don't have like a lobby and an elevator, it's separate entrances. And they had one common trash bin outside, but it broke. And so the landlord, who's an absentee landlord, took it away altogether. So the residents started bringing their household trash across the street and putting it into the Parks Department trash cans.
Mm.
And the Parks Department got pissed about that, so they took away the trash can. So now the household residents are just putting it in bags on the street.
At any time.
So, yeah. So we're all kind of at a loss as what to do because it's the landlord's fault. But it's an absentee landlord and who seems to not care.
Okay.
So I don't know. I
Okay.
mean, I guess just 311 again.
Yeah. Can you
And I
email?
also learned in trying to, figure out what to do about all of this, that the PEP officers for the Parks Department are also in charge of making sure all the trash gets picked up in the parks. I never knew that that was part of their enforcement
Okay.
portfolio. I thought they were just, to keep order in the park but apparently they're also in charge of policing dumping situations and
Oh, okay.
making sure all the trash is taken care of.
Okay, well, I think Roger was saying we are getting ready to wrap up, but I think Miguel raised his hand.
Just quickly, Diana, I live directly next to Bronx Park, and I've had such a problem trying to figure out who's responsible for the trash, who's all of the dog poo that is everywhere. It's Department of Parks, it's sanitation, it's health, blah blah blah. So I've gotten the same thing over and over that they came and looked and it's not a problem, but it's really that the other agency, and three different things. And it's nobody likes to inadvertently step in dog poo, and there's a lot of other people that do just literally bring their trash and put it in the city bins, and they're relatively good about monthly cleaning up the park, but toward the end of the month, I can't let my dog go off leash because who knows what he's going to find.
Mm-hmm.
Can I suggest something?
Yep.
Sorry. So I'm doing it over here in the bid, but in the city, certain parts of the city, like in Brooklyn, they're starting to fund pet waste stations. I don't know if you guys are making a project to reach out to elected officials and propose pet waste stations throughout the district. I think we could create a map and, probably point out a dog walking route throughout the district with the pet waste stations and say, look, it would be great if you guys could allocate some funding for these pet waste stations to help clean up the community and stuff like that. Just saying.
Was the pest waste station, is that one where they just have the free doggy bags and then a garbage to put it in? But
Yeah.
not the one
So
that
the
doesn't have
one,
plumbing, right?
yeah, it does. It does have plumbing in there. The one that I'm getting for my bid here is the ones where you could take doggy bags and also dispose of the doggy bags also. But they'll have options where you just take the doggy bags and then you dispose of it somewhere else. But there are options.
Okay.
Yeah.
Miguel, you have something to say?
Very quickly, I love that idea, but I've also seen people go up to the way stations and take all the bags. So it gets kind of tricky when it comes to that. But that's all I have. I'm not going to keep us any longer.
Okay, well, we think about that, Malcolm, and maybe we got to walk with our own bags soon.
So maybe.
All right, so
Cynthia, you
Cynthia,
had something else?
Yeah, just one last question. You do have it looks like you guys had a quorum. Are you going, I thought I don't know if I heard you make 2 motions, or were they just informal ideas?
Well, I wanted to make a motion at the next general meeting, that we would announce that we're going to have a public hearing at our June sanitation meeting to address alternate side street parking. And I haven't done it before at the community board, so I don't know how they officially do it, where like I would vote yes, and then it's just all of the subcommittee people, or is it any?
So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you can make the motion here for your committee, and then the committee votes on it, and then you bring it to
before.
the board.
Yeah,
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I know you guys done a lot on the bylaws, going back and forth. So you guys are more familiar with it than I am. So
Oh,
Avril,
man.
would you
Every meeting's a
be
bylaws.
yay, nay,
I
or
think
abstain?
Jeremy's back with us. Jeremy, are you here? Oh,
So Avril, would you say you're for it, against it, or abstaining?
no, I'm for it.
Okay. Then Harry, are you still on?
I second it. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm for it.
So just restate the motion for the record, Roger.
So the motion, I want to make an announcement at the next general meeting that the June Sanitation Environmental Committee meeting will be a public hearing addressing alternate side of the street parking.
I don't think that doesn't have to be a motion. I think you could just do that.
Do that, yeah.
Yeah. I think what the letter, I'm not sure if you guys have to make a motion for the letter, or you guys could just reach out to Jeremy to have them reach out to the DOT and the DEP representatives and organize that meeting yourselves. So
Yes, definitely. And Jeremy, if you can hear us, we're getting ready to call the meeting to an end, and let's make sure that Jeremy knows so he can end the meeting the right way. We don't want to end and then it's still recording.
Yeah, yeah. I
Did
think
we
I
have
did
to
that the
vote?
other day.
Did we have to take any kind of vote on the DEP DOT walkthrough?
I
I
think
think
that's
that
a
we just
decision we're
coordinate with
gonna.
Jeremy.
Yes, that's what we're gonna do.
And Diana, if you want to get together, me and you, and ask them both, from both of us to come to both spaces, we can work on that.
Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you so much, and
Avril
Roger.
said she loved the meeting. I'm very pleased.
Oh yes, we have a great meeting. We are not fighting, we're laughing. We're releasing stress tonight.
Thank God, thank God.
Thank you
make a little
everyone
bit more
from
love.
all of BPECA. There are a lot of people who contributed info to this meeting, and they'll be very pleased to get the feedback.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Diana, and thank you, Malcolm, Ephraim,
Thank you.
Cynthia, Miguel, everyone for being here. And so at least we call the meeting to a close.
Have a great night,
Good night,
guys.
everybody.
Thank you.
Okay,
Good night.
thank you so
Good night.
much. So Roger, he says we
Jeremy
can
now.
stop it. Yeah, we can stop. He said it's okay to
Yeah,
stop
you
it.
can stop it.
Yes.
Have a good night. Bye.
Okay.